Captain America's fucking wrong. Hi, my name is George Efta. Welcome to my YouTube channel and episode whatever the fuck of Captain Marvel Rewind. No. I can't say it. Marvel Rewind, where I watch all the movies. So, Avengers 2 happened and everybody went, yeah, okay, I guess. Then Ant-Man happened and most people were like, yay. Everyone I know went, What's the next one? Oh, it's an Avengers movie. Cool. Because all the trailers were like, all the fucking Avengers are in this one. It's a Captain America movie, but except the Hulk and Thor. But everyone, Avengers. So yeah, we all went. And also the trailers revealed Spider-Man's in this one. So like, fucking A. It's a Captain America movie. It does continue his arc from the first two and the Avengers movies, sort of. If the first Cap is about a Boy Scout who's at the exact right place and time to be a Boy Scout, because evil is very clearly defined in the 40s, or, according to movies it is. Nazis bad, America good, then that worked. And the second one is America maybe not so good. I don't know if I can be part of this organization, but it turns out the organization's actually Nazis again. So okay, he learns a bit about the world being more complex, but still Nazis. This one is legitimate concerns about oversight. Remember that thing you had when Nick Fury was around? Yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. bad, but like, Nick Fury was kind of in charge. He took the heat for you. He was a bureaucrat as well as being a soldier. Like, maybe we should have some oversight. You guys destroyed a city and it was the fucking rich dude's fault. Yeah. And Cap's like, nope, can't do it. Which is already stupid. I mean, I get his, like, ideology, but, like, just sign the fucking thing. And that, because, if nothing else, just to make peace, sign the thing. And then if later on the UN won't let you go do your battle, ignore them and go do your battle. Like, right now, the best thing to do is keep the Avengers together, which is Tony's whole thing. The whole movie, until the personal shit happens, is, I'm trying to keep the team together. You're such a fucking Boy Scout. I want to punch your stupid teeth. Like, can you just compromise, please? And he won't do it. And then when the personal shit happens and Bucky becomes involved, he's a fucking hypocrite. If that was any other person out there other than Bucky, no fucking way does he do the shit he does in this movie. That's his friend. So, and even if he knew the whole story, like it was some other person he knew, like another one of the Howling Commandos from Captain America 1, it was somebody else was the Winter Soldier, and, they're out there with getting their memory wiped all the time, and they're doing murders that aren't their fault. Even in that situation, there's no fucking way Captain America goes to bat for them the way he does for Bucky. It's ridiculous. So all that aside, I really like this movie. It's pretty great. It's probably one of the top 5 Marvel movies, objectively speaking. Like, it's really well done. The characters are all great. The villain's a little bit the weak spot, but, you gotta get plot going. And I guess his motivation's fine. Family, dead, stuff. On a personal level, this is frustrating for me because I fucking hate Captain America throughout it. Which, granted, is a nice thing. Like, I'm emotionally invested. As I've said plenty of times, I'd rather be emotionally invested in a frustrating way than just be like, bored, Ant-Man's boring, or whatever. And it doesn't mean necessarily the movie's bad. Like, I'm not frustrated because the movie's bad, I'm frustrated because Cap is fucking wrong. And by the end of the movie, like, he does kind of drop the shield and abandon everything, and I don't know. I'm not sure if this movie's supposed to paint the picture that Captain America's wrong, or that Tony's right, or vice versa, or if it's supposed to be an unanswerable question. To me, it comes across a lot like Captain America's wrong. So for me, on a personal level, I love the thing because, like, I don't know if you can see the TV behind me. It's all fast and blurry and out of focus, but airport sequence is pretty dope. Watching all the Avengers fight each other is great. There are moments when you watch it where you're like, feels like one side should have won this a while ago. Like, Captain America's side is 2 super soldiers, an archer, a chick with mind powers, and Ant-Man. That's it. Tony's side is 2 dudes in Iron Man suits, a Spider-Man, another super spy, black goddamn Panther, and then later on Vision shows up. Tony wins. But whatever.
Just Vision by himself.
Tony
Vision
wins.
wins.
Yeah. So, it's not perfect on a, if you really think about it, type of level, but it's really, really goddamn fun. Watching watching Ant-Man become Giant Man is great. Watching Spider-Man do his thing in a perfect way. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Loathed the Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield movies. Seeing this kid do Spider-Man, I was like, they fucking nailed it. They hadn't really nailed it yet. Spider-Verse did that. But yeah, like, this is a Spider-Man I can get behind. They summed up the character perfectly. Like, I can't go to Germany. Why not? I have homework. And Tony's like, ugh. It's like, no, I'm serious. Like, I can't just fucking leave and go to Germany. All that stuff's great. The banter is great. The action's wonderful. Seeing Spider-Man crawl all over Giant Man's face is wonderful. That sequence is pretty fucking near perfect. I have no problems with it. Even the character shift of Black Widow switching sides and letting Captain America get away because she understands a lot more than maybe any other character in the movie what happens when people with passions are not going to be stopped. So she's like, fuck it, I'm going to stop the bloodshed and let Captain America go. What else to talk about? I fucking love Black Panther. He's a really great actor, really cool character, really good introduction. The chase scene through the tunnels in Germany. Are they in Germany? I think they're in Germany, is really good. There's a great action moment where Bucky, the Winter Soldier, knocks the guy from a motorcycle and grabs the motorcycle and swings it around and jumps onto it and drives off. The problem is that thing I just described takes 6 cuts in the span of 2 seconds, and I hate it. Just let me fucking show me an action sequence, damn it, without cutting it so much. The whole movie's cut to death. There are 2 great moments of action in this movie that aren't cut to pieces. One is Bucky and Cap fighting when he escapes. They're fighting through a hallway, left to right on a frame, and the camera's tracking with them, and there's no cuts, there's no zooms, it's just you can see every punch, every kick. It's really smooth, really good. And then a similar thing at the end when Bucky, Cap, and Iron Man are fighting. Iron Man's back is to the camera, so it's kind of a triangle a triangular composition, and all 3 of them are fighting together, and again, the camera doesn't move, it holds on them for a good long time. The emotionality is there, you can see every punch, it's all crystal clear, it's great. But the rest of the time, the action's cut to shit, as most action movies, Marvel movies in particular, do these days. So, the Sokovia Accords. I get it. It makes sense in a world where we've established these Marvel movies take place in a realistic setting, that there would be some kind of something after Tony Stark created an android AI that almost blew up the universe or the world. It makes sense that they would have, the governments would say, hey, these people are technically vigilantes. They're an autonomous US-based group who go do whatever they want in any country they want behind whatever enemy lines they want. That's not cool. It makes sense to have that happen. It's stupid in as much as, they show footage of why this needs to happen, and he's like, New York, and lots of destruction and casualties. Washington, D.C., and lots of destruction and casualties. Sokovia, lots of destruction and casualties. Lagos, the fucking African town, the Nigerian town in the beginning. Lagos, the Nigerian town from the beginning of this movie. Lots of casualties and destruction. The problem is, an alien invasion happened that had nothing to do with the Avengers, so not their fault in Avengers in New York. In Civil War in DC, not Civil War, in Winter Soldier in DC, fucking Hydra was running the government. Yeah, when you destroy Nazis, sometimes bad things happen, not their fault. In Lagos, there was admittedly a mistake made, but again, better than the alternative of an arms dealer getting a chemical weapon and selling it to God knows who. The only one that's legitimately is Sokovia. That's all Tony's fault, to a certain degree. I mean, you watch the movie Avengers Age of Ultron, and there is an argument made, they weren't even close to formulating a proper AI. There's some notion of the idea that the android kind of gave birth to itself, which is still stupid. It was Tony's fault, but whatever. They had to stop the giant android. What did you want us to do, not stop the giant android?
Still, it's Tony's fault.
It is Tony's fault. So, yeah, it's stupid, but I understand the need for it, and I understand why everyone chose the sides they did in that early scene, Rhodes is a soldier through and through. Tony feels guilt, and also, he thinks everyone kind of needs some oversight. There's danger to letting power run rampant. He's been a billionaire arms dealer his whole life. He needs things to change. The idea of Falcon and Cap being on the other side is very much we were part of the army. We've taken orders our whole lives, and we've done some things we don't agree with. We were technically working for Hydra, kinda, for a while. We don't like this. So they don't sign right away, and then they all go to fucking Germany to have the thing ratified, and that's where the bad guy blows up T'Challa's dad, T'Chaka, and it's blamed on the Winter Soldier. And then they go to Bucharest, and they go get him, and this is where I start really, really disliking Captain America. He tracks Bucky down, and before any of the action starts, he's like, Bucky, you have to come with me. They're coming to get you, and they've been ordered not to shoot to maim. They've been ordered to shoot to kill. And Bucky's like, that's a good choice. And then the SWAT team breaks in, and Cap immediately starts fighting the SWAT team. No, dude. You need to knock out your friend and drag him to a prison cell and be like, hi, I'm Captain America. This is my friend. I brought him here. Let's figure out what's going on. Instead, you become a vigilante and start punching security guys in the face. Nobody gets killed in that sequence, but you are clearly fighting people who are trying to bring in what is a criminal. At that point, you don't know that Bucky didn't do it. You believe him because he's your friend, but there's zero fucking evidence to believe Bucky didn't do that. Like, no, you have to believe in a court of law. Later on, after that sequence, he says, like, where's his lawyer? Like, clearly you believe in some kind of justice, legal system here. You can't just punch SWAT guys in the fucking face and have that be okay. Then Tony comes to him with the pens from Roosevelt, the pens that were a peace treaty, and I think the idea is, like, the document that Roosevelt signed is what led to the connection of America joining World War II. And Cap's like, without these papers, it brought us that much closer to joining a war. And Iron Man's like, yeah, a war against Nazis, dude. Like, just come on, it's an olive branch. Join sides. Like, if you sign this thing, we can turn your misadventure with Bucky in Bucharest into a sanctioned event. We can bring him back to a psychiatrist in America instead of letting him rot in a Wakandan jail. Like, fucking sign the thing, please. And it's a really nice conversation between two characters, really well written, really well performed. And Cap says, well, there would have to be certain, agreements here, certain compromises. And Tony's like, of course, it's a document. Documents can be amended. Let's just sign this right now. We can move forward later. Vision's over there. Let's get this all sealed up before anything happens, before Wanda's at the compound under surveillance. And Cap's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, she just blew up a bunch of innocent people at the beginning of the movie. People are out to get her. She's also a foreign national with no passport. Like, they're not just gonna, like, we have to keep her safe. And Cap's like, oh, you locked her up, she's a prisoner. And it's like, no, you fucker. Like, the world is not black and white anymore, Cap. So he doesn't fucking sign, and Bucky escapes. He tracks down Bucky, gonna take him to fucking do the plot, because, the bad guy is like, hey, there are 9 more Winter Soldiers, and we're gonna unlock them, and that, that's gonna be the climax of the movie, you think. It's not. And then, I guess Iron Man tracks them to the airport. They don't really explain how Iron Man knew where Cap was going, but whatever. And he's like, look it, man, we're here. I got a Spider Kid. Like, okay, I'm done fucking around with you, man. You're gonna give him over to us, because it's us. This isn't some blackball, wet work crew. This isn't some, a bunch of dudes in SWAT uniforms. It's us. You have got to turn him over to us so we can talk about this. If there's some other plot going on, fine. But you've got to do this. The dude gave me 36 hours, we're 24 hours in. And instead of doing that, they all fight each other. And it's fun, but it does result in a casualty. War Machine gets blown out of the sky by Vision.
Well, next time we see him, he has special Tony Stark robot thing, so it doesn't matter.
Still, he's like paralyzed from the waist down.
But
It's like in Dragon Ball Z. Just because you can get wished back doesn't mean dying doesn't suck. And if your whole thing is to protect your friend, you're fighting like 6 of them in this sequence here. Maybe trust that there is more to this. And of course that doesn't happen. Tony goes to the prison to figure out where the fuck Bucky's going, where Cap is going. Along the way he gets the intel that they discover that the Winter Soldier was not involved in the bombing. It was this other dude named Zemo. He tells Ross, who's the guy who brought the Accords in the first place, hey, we got to stop it. There's this thing, we have evidence now. Captain America, or rather Bucky, is not guilty. And Ross is like, what are you, fucking out of your mind? I'm not going to trust you after the shit you just pulled in Germany where like 10,000 people could have died at that airport, all the damage you did. No, you're lucky you're not in a cell with them. So Tony goes in and kills the microphone and tell me where Cap is. And Falcon's like, I'll tell you where he is, but because he's going to need help, but under 2 conditions. You go alone and you go as a friend. And Tony's like, gladly, that's what I want to do. And I'm thinking like, don't go alone. War Machine's fucked up, Spider-Man's back in Brooklyn. You have a vision. If you're gonna go do a big climactic thing, take your robot with you, but he doesn't. And then they fight at the thing because turns out that the Winter Soldier killed Tony's parents back in the day. And Captain America knew about it and covered it up. And Tony loses his shit in a very emotional moment. I think Robert Downey Jr. should get an Oscar nomination for supporting actor for this movie. Throughout the movie, he's really good and compelling, but that moment at the end where he's like near tears and just like, did you know? And Tony, you gotta stop. It wasn't his mind. He was under mind control. It won't bring them back. And he's like, I don't care. He killed my mom. It's like the most relatable thing ever. And in that sequence, like, I'm watching it going like, just fucking let Tony fight the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier's a dick anyway. When Tony asks him questions, he's not like, I'm so sorry, I was under mind control. He's like, yeah, I remember killing your parents. Fuck them. It's like, duh. So they all fight, and at the end of it, Tony loses because of Captain America reasons. And Tony lying on the ground is like, drop that shield, you don't deserve it, my dad made that shield. And Cap does, and there you go. The movie ends with the bad guy Zemo in prison, and Cap gives him the cell phone that we see in Infinity War, and goes and breaks everybody out of the prison. Which is interesting because later on they mention that Hawkeye and Ant-Man both got they made deals with the government, so they're retired. I don't really buy that, but whatever, they did. So they're no longer in prison anymore. I guess by the events of Infinity War, Captain America, Black Widow, Vision to a certain... No, Vision's on the other side. He's just liaisoning with his hot redhead. And the hot redhead, Scarlet Witch, I guess they're all technically still fugitives of America in Infinity War, which is a little bit weird and stupid. And we'll talk about that when I get to Infinity War. Anyway, that's the plot of the movie, and it's really, really good. It's all well acted, well shot. The editing is a little bit frustrating. The introductions of Black Panther and Spider-Man are both handled really, really well. Yeah, aside from the fact that I fucking hate Captain America in this movie, and admittedly he does kind of give up the shield at the end, so maybe that's the point. It's interesting and good. The other thing I want to mention is the opening sequence where we see a young CGI Tony. It's just miraculous, the CGI work in that movie. And then the scene right after that where a mother tells Tony, my son died in Sokovia. He was a good kid. He chose to go volunteer and you kind of killed him. It's your fault. That actress is Alfre Woodard, who is fucking amazing. She's got an Oscar nomination. She's way better than her one scene part. And it's really cool that she showed up to be like, I'm going to make the emotional core of Tony Stark for this movie. Makes sense because I'm Alfre Woodard. So if you're watching through all the movies like I am, or trying to watch the ones that matter before you go see Endgame, this is absolutely on the list. You got to watch all the Avengers movies, which this basically is. And also, this is the last time we see Tony or Cap or Black Widow or Scarlet Witch or Vision or anybody in this movie, basically. We don't see anybody other than Spider-Man and Black Panther again until Infinity War. So it's kind of the last big checkpoint before we get to that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Captain America 3, The Winter Soldier. Probably the last Captain America movie, and I'll get into more about that when I get to Infinity War. Why I think that we're done with Captain America movies. Good stuff. The Russo brothers back from directing Winter Soldier. Their directing here is a lot better. Those two writers, Marcus and McFeely, are show they can write any character perfectly, and their interactions are lovely. Like I said, Ant-Man is fucking boring and not charming. In this movie, he's charming. And I heard from a friend that in Ant-Man 2, he's not charming. So apparently only these two guys know how to write Ant-Man and have him be likable. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'll see you next time on Marvel Rewind with Doctor Strange. In this movie. And that's the tag. I mean, there's two tags. There is, I'm probably sounding muffled. There's the tag. I don't know how they do this in all those movies so easily. I can't even see anything now. There is the tag in the middle, the mid-roll tag, where we realize that Bucky has been taken to Wakanda to heal for reasons. Mostly it's to set up Wakanda. And there's a great line where they, Cap's like, thanks for doing this, but they might come for you. And T'Challa's like, let them come. It's really good. Speaking of which, I forgot to mention while we're talking about Black Panther, his line to the villain at the end where he says, vengeance has consumed you, it's consuming them, I won't let it consume me any longer. Really, really powerful stuff. His character arc in this movie isn't a character arc so much as just a revenge plot, but still, you get a great sense of who he is as a man, and you really get a pretty good sense of the culture too, to a certain degree. Everyone loves that moment where Black Widow is waiting for him, and his attaché, later we probably realize she's Adora Majale, is like, move or you will be moved. Really cool stuff with Black Panther that I forgot to talk about in the main review. Anyway, fuck all that. The actual end tag at the end of the movie is Spider-Man's got a wrist bracelet thing and it has a hologram. I don't know what that means. They never really explain that later. But whatever, Spider-Man's in this movie and he's my favorite superhero. Something that I think my friends finally understand now after watching Into the Spider-Verse, of all things. Although Homecoming, I think turn people around too. So anyway, I bought myself a Spider-Man suit a while back because I was drunk and I wanted it.
And it always fits.
Eventually. So, Thwip, I'll see you next time on, what is this show called? Marvel Rewind. I'll see you next time with Doctor Strange because he didn't get a post-credits tag. In fact, I think he's the only movie that didn't get a post-credits tag set up. Because the Guardians movie was set up at the end of Thor 2. And then, of course, all the sequels got set ups in some way or another. So yeah, Doctor Strange never got a tags showing, hey man, like he can fucking and stuff. See ya. I don't feel like editing in a
It's backwards.
I don't
I
feel
thought
like
you were doing that intentionally, which is why I didn't say something.
I don't feel like editing in a mid-credits roll thing. Also, I don't know, Black Panther's not for like 5 movies. Is that right? Strange, Homecoming, Ragnarok, Guardians, yeah. It's like 5 movies from now.
And also, it's still about Bucky, and who cares? It's Bucky.
Exactly. I can't see. Is it all good? Eyes aren't too crooked?
No, it looks fine. Do you know where the camera's at?
Yeah, it's right there.
You're a little high, but sure.